The Detroit Lions versus the Chicago Bears this weekend in a huge game, really, because it's an on the road in the division. Gotta have it against a team that's a lesser opponent, but it's just, I mean, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. And so in this video, we're going to talk about what Aiden Hutchinson had to say about the defense. The defense has been a mystery all year. In some games, they're outstanding. In other games, it feels like they're terrible. The other guy on this channel, Craig, put it perfectly. Sometimes Aaron Glenn has your number, and other times it just feels like he doesn't. And it's painful. So Aiden Hutchinson, it was interesting to hear what he had to say about the defense and what's wrong with the defense, because we can't put our finger on it. It's hard to understand. But first, Aiden Hutchinson shaved his head. I don't know. Don't have an image of it, but he buzzed his hair off. He was growing it out. Liked it, but I liked it, but he didn't like it. So here's what he had to say. He said, just executing and being on the same page. The problem is the inconsistencies. Sometimes it feels like we're 3 and out and just playing at such a high level. Sometimes those drives are 15 play touchdowns that we let up. Exactly. That's how it feels as Lions fans. It doesn't feel that way. It's just the way it is. Sometimes the Lions are just, man, they're just off the field. Life's good. They're getting pressure, stopping the run. Everything's great. You think about some of the teams that we play this year, Buccaneers, Panthers, Falcons, first game against the Packers. I mean, it's just like, this is great. And then the other games against the Seahawks, obviously the Ravens game was brutal. The second game against the Packers, it's just like, just not even really big plays given up. I mean, there was, but it was more of this, exactly what he's talking about here. 15 play drives, just 3rd and 4, they get 5. 3rd and 2, they get 3. Keep the drive moving. It's just like, oh my gosh. So right now it feels like one or the other. Completely agree. So we've got to just overall be more consistent. And so that's why they aren't a good defense, because if you're a good defense, you're consistently getting stops, consistently getting off the field. Now, we've said that the Lions were a bad defense in 2021, the first part of 22. Like, don't forget that. So they're not a bad defense. We've seen what that looks like. But I think we've just, the expectations and what we need to see in order to make a long playoff run. And we'll get back to some more news on some good news about the defense here in a second. But when you look at a long playoff run, you need a defense that's not just in the middle of the pack, but you need them to be a little bit better than that. And the Lions are in the middle of the pack statistically, just because they've had some historically great games, not giving up anything on the run, just turnovers, doing great. But then they've also give up historically bad games as well, just in the same season. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. So they're not bad. It's just that we want them to be better, obviously. The growing discussion this week has centered around the Lions traveling to the Bears. Early reports it's going to be inclement weather, but Aiden Hutchinson said, you know how I feel when the cold weather comes out. I feel like I'm definitely, my abilities go up a little bit. That's the Michigander inside of me. I love it. It'll be fun. Oh, thank you. So good news, bad news on the defense as we continue the defense. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, Craig and I read your comments. We may not respond to every single one, but we learn a lot from you guys as well. I don't think the defense is terrible. And we have to remember that. We have to set our expectations that they're not terrible. When they are playing bad, it's because the offense, which is the engine that makes our team go, is turning the ball over. There's problems. And our defense isn't good enough to hold up. But if our offense does what we expect with all the weapons, our defense can be good enough. But we lose Alim McNeil. And he's been the one player that's just been a pleasant surprise, that's played above what we thought he would. So Aiden Hutchinson, we expected him to play good. He was. You look at Charles Harris, Pascal, John Kaminsky, those guys are just not exceeding expectations. Alim McNeil is, and he's doing a great job. And he's right in the center of the defense. It's going to hurt to lose him. But the good news is James Houston right here said that he's going to be back, he thinks, before the playoffs. Boy, if we could get into the playoffs, which we will, we want to win the division. But if we can get into the playoffs and get another pass rusher back, it would be just huge. So they nailed it here. The Detroit Lions have mixed results from their pass rush throughout 2023. Same thing, has not been consistent. That's the problem with the defense. The defense has not been consistent in any level, whether it's turnovers, generating turnovers, pass rush, stopping the run, stopping the pass. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it isn't. But James Houston would be a huge addition because it's clear that the Aquara brothers and Charles Harris just don't have it. They just don't have it, and we need somebody else. So we know that we got Bruce Irvin, but James Houston would be huge for the Lions. So you lose Aleem McNeil, but you've got James Houston possibly coming back, and it doesn't level itself out, but it'd be nice to add some explosiveness, and hopefully James Houston can just get right back on the field. I don't know if that can happen, but the defense is in an interesting spot. They just have to play well enough at this point to get wins. We're not going to fix the defense. We're not going to add defensive ends. We're not going to add corner help at this point in the season. They have to play well enough to get us wins. And if they do that and the Lions get a win, great job, defense. I mean, seriously, we can't nitpick the defense to death at this point in the season. They are who they are. And we got to hold up enough to let the offense do what they have to do in order for us to just keep getting wins and go win the division. Like that's it right now. Just go win the division, secure a home playoff game, and life's good. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one, and we'll see all of you on the next one.